Hello everybody and welcome. Let's do a quick overview prior to proceeding of previous chapters. As we already understand, the FDA has jurisdictions that consist of the Center for Biologics, Center for Drug Evaluation, and the Center for Devices and Radiology, to name a few. We are going to analyze to understand how each department plays a vital role in collaborating measures to secure post-marketing surveillance, a topic that I am honored to discuss. Learning goals for today include post-marketing surveillance, what it is, the doctor's office only to get overwhelmed by paperwork. Well, I guess that's how our system feels. The electronic health records includes patient registering information. If an adverse event has been reported to the AHR, a report is filed with MedWatch to determine if the drug was branded or generic. The report is reviewed by the Center for Biologics Evaluation. If the adverse event update is inconclusive, the update is reported to the Sentinel system. Here, the database is distributed to data partners who share their data, which shortens the analysis. The central network allows researchers to see reaction types and monitor risk. Now that we see the reports, let's discuss where the reports will go and what exactly will the FDA do with them. So you may ask, what exactly is post-market device surveillance and how can it be done? Well, post-market surveillance is a regulatory requirement that safeguards the quality, safety, and efficacy of your product once it enters the market, showing that you genuinely care about the quality of your product not only during the manufacturing process, but also during marketing. It shows the customer that you are heavily engaged in the value of the product. Having your product test through the pre-market trials is one step closer towards an extended examination. Post-market surveillance reduces pre-market data collection. However, post-market data cannot be used as a substitute to pre-market, and there are times when having post-market data is acceptable compared to the data of the pre-market. The reason for this is because there may be more people engaged in the study. There also may be high-risk groups, such as children and the elderly. You also may have long-term effects that need to be constantly monitored and traced. Not only are adverse event reports filed through AHR, but also centralized claim databases. Manufacturers are obligated to report any adverse events to the FDA. Most of the time, manufacturers take it upon their own recognizance to use spot checks and surveillance to identify market problems prior to the events happening. Manufacturers also collect data from third-party databases, they conduct surveys, and they closely monitor real-life scenarios, even though these processes may take more time and cost more money. Manufacturers may also monitor for shortages or price increases. There are several approaches used when observing adverse reactions, whether it be active or passive. Physicians and consumers oftentimes use passive surveillance. Their adverse reporting information does not have to be shared. It's strictly voluntary. Because of this, 10% of the adverse events are updated within the FDA's adverse reporting system. Most of these adverse reports are a burden to the FDA because the data is limited, incomplete reports are received, and the manpower to oversee the workload may not be available. However, the FDA uses a multi-step approach to remedy the situation of adverse reporting. Oftentimes, the data is matched according to large groups of treated patients to determine the frequency of adverse reaction. This is known as cohort studies. A case-controlled study includes matching a treated patient adverse reaction to an untreated patient. Now that we know what post-marketing surveillance is and why it's used with the FDA, let's discuss what system will be used to track the PMS information. Have you ever looked at a device and wondered, what is that barcode and why do we have it? Well, to identify medical devices, what the FDA did was they used unique device identifications, also known as UDIs. Even though devices are not documented, all of them are not documented, the key is to track devices that pose the most risk. The National Registry used to identify devices with potential safety issues is then logged into the FDA Adverse Event Monitoring System. As tallies continue to be kept under CDER and CBER, those particular departments. If the device is found to be associated with risk, well, no risk, that is, then no action is required. However, on the other hand, if the FDA does find there are risks, then the FDA may modify product labeling, they may develop a risk evaluation and mitigation strategy known as REMS. They may gather data to categorize the risk, send warning letters, or even initiate recalls. All right, so I want to use this opportunity to explain so that before we proceed, we need to understand the difference between phase 4 trials and post-marketing surveillance. It's important to know that phase 4 trials is not the same as post-marketing surveillance. Post-marketing surveillance is only observational, and also it's non-experimental. On another note, phase 4 trials, they are experimental. So post-marketing surveillance trials can be considered phase 4 trials. However, not all phase 4 trials are post-marketing surveillance. One more note, sometimes companies may use a 510K for Class 2 devices. Now, please understand that the downfall is the data may not have enough information to prove safety and efficacy. Again, we want to bring our product to the market with limited uncertainty. However, if uncertainty does exist, we need to clean up any questions that do exist regarding the accuracy of the data. In order to do this, we must expand into a broader market. And again, we want to prove that the product is safe and effective. So on the previous slide, more information is being reported to the FDA. Now, keep in mind this may not be due to more adverse events occurring, but more individuals actually reporting. Taking a look at this current slide, as we see, the drugs, the biologic and medical devices, all of which have adverse event reporting requirements, labeling changes, and clinical trials. Now, when it comes down to recall, only biologic and medical device require product recall. On another note, drugs do not require product recall. Pharmacovigilance plays a vital role in drug surveillance. Prior to drugs hitting the market, the law requires substantial evidence of drug effectiveness. Sometimes physicians run into a barrier because patients may have pre-existing conditions, there may be age factors or other barriers that make it kind of difficult to analyze drugs as being the adverse event. Here are regulatory actions as discussed earlier. According to the World Health Organization, IVDs are categorized according to proactive and reactive marketing surveillance. In proactive, lot verification testing is the performance to assure the IVD meets pool standards and any data that does not meet quality control is sent for corrective action. On the other hand, reactive marketing surveillance allows a complaint to be filed and sent immediately for corrective action.